So, I want to talk about UFOs. See, the thing is, UFOs have been on people's minds for a long time. And I've been thinking about it more and more and more in a critical way as time goes by. But my direction of what I think is true and not true has changed in the last year big time. And I think probably for good, but we'll see. With all the talk of the UFO trials and the whistleblowers coming forward, it just feels like I'm more and more thinking, yeah, it's not aliens. It's never been aliens. It's always been things that the public doesn't know about yet. I mean, think about it. The F-117 stealth bomber, was built in Burbank. That's where Jay Leno's show is filmed. It wasn't built in the middle of a desert, behind a fence, behind a mountain, with a with a sign called Area 51. It was built in a busy Southern California, or well, California city, like right there. So there are things that can exist that the public doesn't know about yet, and technology that the public doesn't know about yet. And it it just seems more and more that it's not aliens. It's just stuff the public doesn't know about yet. And the things that led me to this place, really, it was a couple of things. Yeah, I watched oh, what's his name? Travis something on Rogan. His story was about the movie called Fire in the Sky. I believe that was his movie. Uh, he's on a logging job, and they're riding in the truck up the road, and they see a light, and he gets knocked out and abducted by aliens and whatever. And he believes this. I never fully believed him telling that story, but he sure does seem to be convinced of it. So that one was kind of like, I don't know. And then you hear other similar stories by people who supposedly saw aliens, or a UFO craft, right? But they show all the signs of someone that is making up 90% of their story. I don't doubt that they were driving on this road and saw a light, but all the other stuff that they talk about in the story, they show signs of they're making stuff up. They're not really sure about it. Just from a psychological observation of how people are speaking and acting, right? So I really didn't see anything that pushed me one way or the other until David Fravor started talking. And his video is interesting, but his video doesn't really show anything. It's just a spot on a screen that is a tracking pod on a plane. Now, the interesting thing is, one time he said one thing that was the pivotal statement for me. And it was, he said that craft that he was following or watching acted in a manner that he would act if he ran into something. Well, he's military trained as a pilot. So if he's going to act a certain way when he spots another flying object, well, another military trained pilot is going to act in a very similar way. So by him saying the thing act the same way I would, told me it's had the same training that he's had. And ever since then, my thought that, well, I didn't really know if it was aliens or whatever to begin with, but ever since he said that, all of that has just dissolved away, and I don't think it's aliens at all. Period. I just don't. Um, there's some guys on YouTube called the Behavior Panel, and they go through all these people and look at how they are acting while they're talking about seeing UFOs or aliens or whatever. One of them has is presidents talking about it, and another one's there are of random people telling their story, and I think most of those they basically said, yeah, these guys they're making up or they're probably not truthful on most of their stories. So I just haven't seen any good evidence that it's actually aliens, and it seems like more and more these days people think that it is, but maybe, I don't know. I don't know, but I'm not convinced it's aliens, especially based on knowing more and more about the universe and how, plane technologies work that we have now. And we're putting out these telescopes like James Webb that are looking around, and we're seeing more of the universe than we've ever seen before. We're not seeing more UFOs outside of, skies above the US or wherever people are seeing things. Yeah, it's interesting. A year or two ago, I was in a place where I thought it could. I wonder, maybe it could be. I'm not sure yet. But now I'm in a place where, yeah, I don't think it's aliens. I really don't. And I'm not sure that this whistleblower trial or whatever they're going to do is going to, I don't think it's going to do anything. I don't really believe, I'm not sure what motivations David Fravor and Graves has in this, but I don't fully trust them. They seem like they got something up their sleeve, but I honestly can't tell what it is. That Grush guy, I don't believe any words that come out of his mouth. No clue what he's about. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at on all of this, and hopefully that explains why. Maybe it helps you get to a place where you also can come to your own conclusion. But yeah, I mean, if it's flying in a straight line and it looks like a balloon, it might be a balloon. If it's a green triangle because it's looking through a spotting scope that has a triangular iris in the scope, the aperture, that's not an alien. It's a plane that's out of focus, and it's triangle because that's the shape of the aperture. It's just like simple lens technology knowledge. It's nothing special. It's not magic. And they still show it on the news, which drives me nuts. That this is obviously not aliens, and you keep showing it. But yeah, there are some interesting things like the stories that some of the guys on Sean. Oh gosh, what's his name? Uh, Crap, what's his name? Oh, Sean Ryan. Yeah, there's been a couple of his, a couple of people on his podcast lately. And if you listen really carefully to what they're talking about, they're not talking about aliens. They're talking about we saw something and we don't know what it is. But aliens were not even in the conversation, really. If you really listen to what they're just saying, hey, we were in the jungle, we saw this thing, and it took off over the ocean. But nowhere in that did he see aliens. They were just people doing stuff, right? So even if his story is true, there was no aliens involved. And when you look at the other guy, they went to some underground facility and saw rocks floating, it sounds like, with some kind of maglev technology, what it sounds like he's describing. That I don't know. Part of me thinks that if nobody came after them to shut them up, I wonder if they're or even saying anything valuable. Because like this guy from Georgia or North Carolina, DC something, they did. One of Obama's chefs recently drowned in shallow water, which is odd because, as far as I can tell, one of the Clinton chefs also drowned in water while hiking on a trail. So it just seems like if somebody comes after you, then you probably are actually talking about something that people want to keep covered up. And nobody seems to be shutting up David Fravor and Graves. So it makes me think they probably don't actually, they're probably not actually talking about anything that really has any substance. So I don't put a lot of weight on them unveiling alien technology. But yeah, after many, many years of just thinking about it and just looking at all the evidence, really, I mean, we have very good cameras in our pockets. And these planes have pretty good cameras on them. And we're not really seeing aliens. So I think it's stuff we're making. Maybe the US is making some of it. Maybe China's making some of it. I don't know. That part I don't know. I don't even can't really make a guess. I'm sure the US is working on stuff because it seems like we always are. But beyond that, what do you mean to say? UFOs? Not. I don't think so. That's all I got.